Dub Nation, the playoffs are arriving. We played the Rockets on Sunday, but before that, we got some crazy news about Jonathan Kuminga. We know he has been out of the rotation. Steve Kerr hasn't even speak much about it because things are working without him. And he was injured. He was having a good moment before that, but things haven't been in favor of Jonathan Kuminga. So today, let's discuss how things can actually turn around to him and why it's likely that Kuminga is out of his Warriors time. So this news came like just today, right? So look at this. Warriors Inside bring that John Kuminga won't be part of the organization next year. And the reality is like, I'm not super surprised. Before I go forward, leave in the comments if you agree with what the Warriors would do in case they let Kuminga go. We're going to talk about the situation a little bit more. Or you think that they should keep him, that he's a valuable player and Steve Kerr should make it work, right? So, what is happening with Kuminga? Since Jim Butler came, he basically lost space because they both are not combining well on the floor. We are at -6 in the minus with both of them on the floor. Jim Butler is an ISO player, one of the best in the leagues, has led the Warriors together with Stephen Curry, and mainly works really well when Stephen Curry is not out there. Kuminga lost space in that injury, and when he came back, he clearly couldn't find his space anymore because exactly when he was out, the team started playing really well and working and winning and got to the playoffs. We know how Steve Kerr is even a little bit stubborn when he's convinced of something. So it's going to be really hard to change that. And to the Warriors organization, keeping Kuminga last year, it means committing to most of their cap space right now. We're going to look at the cap space in a minute. But remember, Kuminga is a restricted free agent, right? So I'm pretty sure he fits better in other organizations at this point, and they're going to come with some crazy offers because there's a lot of organizations out there with more cap space than the Warriors. The Warriors are very committed with Jim Butler, Draymond Green, and Stephen Curry. And we know they're not going to change any of that because of Kuminga. So it's going to be really hard. When you look to Steve Kerr convictions about Jonah Kuminga, is not working right now. Let's make a comparison. Jason Tatum at the Gold Run, the Olympic Games, didn't play a minute. And that's because Steve Kerr thought that wasn't working. And he stick with that, even against the media, all the criticism. When you look to Donald Kuminga, he's not a superstar as at Tatum. He's not unanimous opinion against the Warriors fan. So I don't think he's going to play. I don't think Steve Kerr is going to change it because things are working. Even if the Warriors don't make a playoff run really deep, as we expect them to do, I don't see how Kuminga could be the X factor unless when he comes to the floor, things play out differently than has been in the last games, right? So the only way that I think the lucky could turn for Kuminga right now is if actually someone get injured and he gets more minutes than what he's taking. Let's say that the Warriors miss, for whatever reason, Gary Payton or Brandon Porzinski or Guy Santos, that then we need to change things and use those minutes. I'm already envisioning that the series against the Rockets, especially, it's going to be a 5-6 game series, maybe 7, because they are athletic. I think they're going to push the Warriors. They're going to have the home court advantage initially. So I don't think it's going to be a short series. Then you might need that energy that Kuminga could bring to the table. And then if that happens, we need to remind that Kuminga has been this season, the best player that we have against the Rockets, because exactly I think he can match that athleticism that you see in Jalen Green, in the other Rockets players that are a younger team compared to the Warriors, right? So I don't see the way and the timeline going in his favor right now, but maybe there's one last opportunity for him to show value and play that X factor, right? That many people, and I believe it, I say it here before, if when he comes back from injury, he could play and deliver that amount of points that he was doing before, he would be the perfect fit because then you have Jim Butler, you have Stephen Curry, and you have Jonah Kuminga coming from the bench and being that threat as well that we've seen other teams like Malik Monkey does for the Kings and other players Nasri does for the Minnesota. So we lack that 20 points from the bench. And Kuminga, in my opinion, could be that, but unfortunately, he needs to help as well. And we know he's not the strongest one in defense, the passing, which is so important for the Warriors. So I think he might have a less chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if next summer he's out of the Warriors' plans and Steve Kerr plan. Look at this. Well, let's look at the cap space and see why it's so difficult, right? So let's look for 2025-26. The NBA is expecting to raise the first apron, that's basically where the Warriors are really close right now, to 197 million. So if you remove Kuminga's salary, that is a 10 million projected for next year, you would have 171, almost 172 committed already with your current roster, which is much smaller than the roster that we have right now, because that is not accounting for Gary Payton, Kevin Looney, and Pat Spencer, that they don't have any salary committed for next year. So you need to keep a roster of 14 players, right? Then you're down 3 already, and you take it off Kuminga, you're down 4, and you have only 24 million in space to bring 4 players. So it's really hard to pay anything for Kuminga above that 10 million, 15 million, because then you would have to fulfill your other roster spots with very low salary players, which honestly, I do see the Warriors retaining maybe Gary Payton and Kevin Looney because they're veterans. You could bring them to a much lower value. And especially Looney has been their whole career with the Warriors. Gary Payton had his NBA shot with the Warriors as well. So yeah, maybe there's a possibility they will bring those guys in something like a 6-7 million combined. But still, then you still have like 15 millions and you need to bring 2 more players, right? So there was already conversations of the Warriors maybe bringing again the Anthony Melton, other potential players there in the market. So it's going to be really challenging for Kuminga. And let's not forget there are rumors going on around the league, and the Warriors are much more attractive right now with Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry. And maybe you're going to try pair another star with them. There are other players. We're going to talk tomorrow or the day after about the free agents. And I was looking, there are some centers, there are some players, very interesting players that will be free agent right now, which have already a current salary lower than what Kuminga has. So I think his time, John Kuminga time at the Warriors might be coming to an end. I wouldn't be surprised. And honestly, I like John Kuminga. I think he's very athletic, very a big threat, and he can develop yet a lot. But I want to see the Warriors winning. That's the main thing. And right now, he's not bringing that to the table. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think the Warriors should keep or not John Kuminga, and how would you do that? Because it's not just about like I think they should do it, but there's restrictions, right? Salary restrictions, trades that you would have to pull off and fulfill the rest of the roster if you make that. Leave in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. I see you tomorrow.